Good morning, YouTube. Oh, the Brady Show. Tons of fun, right? So what we've done is I'm sitting up here. It's Monday morning, so we're sitting up here in Odessa, Texas terminal, up in the training room. We were going to use an office downstairs. We just wanted something that was a little more quiet. But since these guys weren't going to be here today, kind of worked out. A big office and such things. So before we get started, my opening monologue, so to speak, this quarter's dispatch came out. I wanted to address something. So in here, our president and CEO has an article, and a question that was posed in the article is what's the Brady way? He was asked what it is, and he even states in here he got a lot of good but a lot of different answers, and I'm not going to say that mine's any better than the most of them, but what does the Brady way mean to me? What is that to me? What do I, as a trainer, what am I teaching these guys about the Brady way? And I think the best way for me to describe it is this: humbled strive for perfection. I honestly feel like Brady down here in the Permian can't be competed with as far as safety and customer service, expectations of the drivers, and what our drivers and employees down here are capable of. We have this humbled attitude of, we know we're good, but we're always trying to be better, and we know there's always room for improvement. So to me, it's this humbled strive for perfection. That's what the Brady way means to me. So for the first Brady show, I wanted to get another trainer's story and kind of their outlook on Brady, and what you can expect when you come down here from someone other than me, and just let you meet someone else. So without further ado, I'm going to flip this camera around, and
Oh, hey, I didn't see y'all there.
oh, he told me he was going to do that. I didn't believe him. Oh, that's funny. So this is Eddie Vela. He is one of the trainers here in the Permian. And just for kicks, this is actually the guy who trained me when I started at Brady. So it's like I said, guys. It's Monday morning. Me and Eddie actually just finished up. We do road tests on Monday mornings, try to help management out so they're not stretched too thin. So we just finished up road test on the guys that are coming through orientation this week. Looks like we got some good ones this week. We did get an owner operator in the mix who drove pretty good. And then we got two company drivers that seemed like they drove pretty good. So at least mine did. How'd that second one you did?
Did real good.
You did real good? So that's good. So it looks like at least we got some that can drive. I don't think any of them had. Did any of them have any sand experience?
Owner operator did.
Owner operator does. So we got at least two of them this week. We're going to have our work cut out for whoever gets to train them.
I think it's better that way.
Now, why do you think that? Why do you think it's better if they don't have any experience?
Just because they're not always trying to fight our way of doing it. Other companies.
It's easier to mold them.
Yeah, pretty much.
The way we believe Brady would want them.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, 100%. So let me ask you something. You know, when I started out here, you were going home, every 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And home a week? Or now, are you still running that schedule?
Yep.
Okay.
3 weeks on, 1 week off.
And how's that work out for you? You're still making the money that you should be making in the oil field?
Yeah. Make real good.
And what do you like about that schedule?
See my family more often. If I was at home every day, I actually spend more time with them now because then it's only like 2 hours a night.
True.
Kids gotta go to sleep for school. Shit. I see them more now, really.
I think I'd have to say being back in the oil fields, because I did this for a number of years in North Dakota, and uh, I'd have to agree that I probably spend more time with my family because I'm gone so long. Now, I don't do 3 weeks, obviously. I mean, you know that. I spend 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks out here. Right now, I'm on like a 10-week hitch, uh, just because of the pregnancy and the baby getting due here. So uh, I won't go home till next week. I think actually we go home the same week. You just go home a day earlier than I do. Next week, right?
No, I go and then you go.
Okay, so we're a week off, which works out. Don't need both of us on home time. Uh, what do you guys like to get into when you're home? I mean, hunting, fishing, boating, cars, trucks. You teaching your boy to be a truck driver,
Mechanic, right?
a mechanic, whatever.
Now all we do is pretty much I spend as much time I can with my boys, so we're pretty much there watching cartoons or going to the zoo.
Yeah. I got my kid. I got Hunter. We call him Chunk. I got him hooked on Tom and Jerry right now. My wife hates me. She hates me. She goes, I'm tired of this cat and mouse. I said, if he likes it, he likes it. So Tom and Jerry's our thing right now. When I'm home, I've got literally 10 DVDs of nothing but Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Oh, nice.
It's all the old, from the very first one till they went off the air, with the old school ones. He found some of the new school ones the other day. I'm not real impressed with those, but hey, it's still Tom and Jerry. So you go home for a week, you get back here, and you got to train some new guy that's coming out of orientation. What is one of the biggest things that you see from a guy coming out of orientation, or one of the more common questions you get from a new guy with no experience? So has never been in the oil field, only ever run like over the road or local or something, and now we're throwing, he's decided I'm going to the Permian, I'm going to work for Brady. What's the biggest question you get out of a new guy first day?
18 speeds, and then they're just scared of messing something up or getting lost.
Getting lost. I think the biggest one I get is the getting lost thing. You run that first night, and I like to train at night. There's less traffic. I feel like it's easier to train someone when they're not so worried about keeping up, because there's less traffic. They can keep up a little easier with us, and I think that, at least as far as directions go, that's the biggest thing I run into as a trainer is guys don't have a good sense of direction coming from over the road. They're used to following a GPS, and then they get directions down here: go west 4.4 miles, go east this many miles, turn north.
Yeah.
So they run into we're going to get lost all the time. And by the end of the week, typically they have a little better sense, but sometimes not. I think probably the one other question I get anyways is it really as busy down here as they told us?
I get that question from people that already have experience.
Really?
Yeah.
And would you say it is?
I'd say it is.
I know me and you've been running a lot together this last week. We've just ended up on the same well, and that worked out. And you had 2 trainees, I believe, this past week. One owner-operator, one company guy. Do you feel like when you get multiple trainees that it affects the way you train at all?
No, I actually think it's better.
And why do you say that?
Because you got 3 different trailers. Every trailer unloads different.
It's a good point. I never thought about that way. I like that. I'll have to, yeah, I do. That's a good way to think about that. You really got me thinking about that now. Does the method in which you train change from person to person?
No, everyone's the same.
Okay. So what I get into, and I've said it on another video, is as trainers we wear a lot of different hats. You know, we're a shrink some days, we're anger management, 10 minutes later, or, grief counselor, trainer, best friend, worst enemy. We're everything
Yeah.
over that course of a week. Because we really try to push these guys to maximize their load count their first week out in the field, so they're making a good paycheck. But we also try not to cross a line where we've pushed them too hard. And sometimes that leads to some guys just don't have the right attitude for working down here in the Permian. I say it every Monday, your attitude will determine your direction here at Brady, and I believe that 100%. Give me a story or an example, or just when one time you got a guy that started out with just a bad attitude, and you had to wear those different hats, and how you adjusted to that. Have you ever had just that one guy that come out of orientation with no experience but knew everything?
Yes, I have.
I don't want names. I don't want to put anyone on blast or whatever, but did he kind of straighten out by the end of the week, or did he stay that way?
He straightened out. He just thought he knew everything, and then I was like, all right. So,
But it never done the job. Had never pulled a
Yep.
pneumatic.
So he said he knew what he was doing, so I ran him.
Let him go, right?
No,
Here, let's do it.
I ran him full out, and then
And I think that's one thing that as trainers we run into a lot is when they come to orientation, a lot of them have a great attitude. Well, I'm a runner. I'm down here to make money. But they're so used to being runners over the road where they're I drive at night, or they got a dedicated where they're driving during the day and they're making the same delivery, and pretty much none of them ever been on a lease road. And that's one of the big things I think we run into is, they don't realize just how difficult this job could be, but how easy it is as well.
yeah.
And I know when you trained me, the way Brady does things, we pretty much had it. We were running day 2. We were good to go. And I try to, me personally, I've always been a lead by example guy. So I don't go out and say, oh, you're going to do this, and then I'm doing something completely different.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody
Yeah,
to do something that I don't.
I did a video not long ago on trainers and bad trainers, and what should be expected of a trainer and what trainers expect of their trainees. So if there's one thing that you could tell a new guy that's watching this, thinking of coming to Brady Trucking and saying, let's get on YouTube, and they see this video, if you could tell them there's one thing they need to expect, that not only they should expect to see down here, but something we expect of them as trainers, what would that be?
I've already thought about that. I don't know.
So I think one of the things that I would tell them personally is, if you have no experience, we as trainers would expect just for you to listen and be patient. You're not going to learn everything the first day out. There's 100 million different things that we do with those trailers and where we load, and every place does it a little different. So I guess the thing I would tell them, something to expect, would be to be challenged in a good way, I guess is the way I would put it. We're going to take someone who's never done it, and we're going to teach you a new skill that can really turn into a beneficial career for you with a great company. So last question. Here comes the doozy. Are you ready? Here comes the winner. What do you think about Brady Trucking?
Honestly, I think it's the best company I've ever worked for. The only one problem I had was my TV was too big for my truck.
he said, I used my Brady points and I got a TV that was too big. I remember that. I remember when you got the TV because he was like, it doesn't fit in my truck. I was like, well, why'd you get a TV that big for a truck? I remember that. You know, well, you got to see my TV this morning. I got a 24-inch TV. It's flat screen, but I got a flat top sleeper. I don't need a big TV. I don't know where the heck I'd put it. I guess I could put it on the back wall and sleep in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
One last question. Would you recommend someone with no experience in this to come train at Brady and work for Brady Trucking?
Yeah, 100%.
Now, why?
I did it.
How's it working out? Obviously pretty good. You trained me.
Yeah.
I mean...
And you had no experience either.
So... Eddie, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you doing this little interview with me today. Anytime you wanna come be part of the Brady Show, guys, I need a new name. Comment below. Get me a new name. The Brady Show just sounds too much like the Brady Bunch, and we're not, you know, Cindy, Jan, and Bobby over here. So
We are family.
we are. Appreciate that, guys. Comment on a name. We're looking for a new name other than the Brady Show. Please don't suggest the Brady Show. We've already got it, and it's not that good. So Eddie, thanks a lot. Appreciate the interview.
No problem.
So guys, that was Eddie. Like again, that's the guy that trained me the Brady way when I got down here. Next week, same day on Monday. It's probably going to be a little earlier in the day. We are going to do a video on our road test. One of the big things we get is 18 speeds, and is it real hard or is it this and that? And me and Eddie were literally sitting here looking at YouTube videos on guys trying to teach people about an 18 speed and how to shift them. And it is the most confusing damn videos I've ever seen. So we're going to do one next week. I'm going to keep it super simple, just for road test purposes. And honestly, if you can't get it after that, you'll get it after a week of driving one, I promise. So guys, until next time, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you again.